literature that I've had to do for my dissertation, it's not heading the right way, no. It's just, it's basically people in our field are assuming that these old theories are going to immediately apply to computing. And my point is we can't make that assumption. We can't make that leap. We have to absolutely test those things. We can't just make that leap because definitions are changing, as I showed you. Not only definitions are changing, but models are changing. The way we perceive anonymity is changing. It's also different from one culture to another culture. So we have to test those things. We have to verify that. So I hope at least you got something out of this. Like, humans should be studied in this field. I really want people in computer sciences and computer technology to start thinking about this. My background is in computer science, computer technology, telecom. But A, this is interesting. And B, it's important. Yes?
I have a side question, because you have a telecom department here right now.
It's telecommunications engineering technology. Or network engineering technology, sorry. Yes, it's under the CNIT department. They have some interesting classes.
So the classes would be under CNIT, like you're looking at?
Yes. Any other questions? Yes.
One last question.
Yep.
I just want to ask, how do you derive your analysis? Do you go for observations? Do you do surveys? Or do you have
Well, right now, I haven't, I'm basically, this presentation is about what could be done, okay? So I haven't done any formal research, but I did get my RB approval almost done so that I can go ahead and perform my research. But the easiest way to do that at this point is surveys, okay? That's the easiest way to do that. There are surveys that measure certain things, and you need to correlate all of those together and form a model. And based on that model, you can keep testing it in other ways as well. So you don't necessarily only have to look at surveys, but behavior becomes difficult to look at in an experimental setting. You don't want something like the Stanford prison experiment happening all over again, like in the computer world, because that will create a lot of issues. The Stanford prison experiment, that's an interesting experiment. Read up on it. Yeah. Any other questions? Are we done? 2, 1? I think we're almost done. Good questions. I want more if there's more, because it keeps me thinking. It really does.
You know, if you want to talk, you can explain the Stanford experiment.
I think I'll leave that to Chris. That's his major area.
In the late 50s, took 20 grad students and locked them in the basement of a dormitory. And half of them were prisoners and half of them were guards. And the only thing that differentiated them was the guards were given sunglasses and sticks. And in under a week, they devolved into a prison society where force won out over everything. It's about the results of the study showed that authoritarianism is inherent in human society, and that given the right opportunity, the strong it'll come back, and the strong will take over. Yada yada.
So even the prisoners became like just like a free for all type thing.
Well, it became that the guards started beating the prisoners.
So the guards were strong, like physically stronger.
No, but they were given the role of the authoritarian by the stick and the sunglasses, so that you couldn't see their eyes. And under a week, the roles were assimilated into the individuals. And then they reversed the roles the next week. And it was anarchy, actually, because the prisoners then took it out on their former captors.
This seems a little skeptical.
Read up on it. It's really interesting. And he's almost thrown out of the academic community for it because it's really unethical to do.
They had to shut down the experiment. They didn't think it was really good.
That's
what I heard.
I don't remember exactly. And then there's also another one where he pretended to shock people and see how much voltage people would administer to each other.
See, there's a certain level of difficulty that's associated when doing research that deals with sensitive matters like this. Okay, you can't put you can put a human being into a situation where they might do something like cheat on a question. That's not that difficult to do. But to make that leap from cheating on a question to like hacking a network is a little difficult. So we need some way of doing that. And we can't get to that unless we start thinking about this stuff, unless we get our minds working. And that's the whole point of this, is we should start thinking about this. If you really like computers, that's great. But people are using those computers. People are using the software that you're developing. And anonymity seems to be something that we should really look into, especially when you're discussing insider threat. Yes?
What kind of
Push.
angle would this,
Yeah.
what kind of end goal would this kind of research have? Would it be creating networks that automatically defend themselves from after a certain amount of interaction with it, that it can figure out who you are?
It could lead a lot of, one of the things that you could definitely do as a company is if you're hiring someone, you can tell whether that person might perform some kind of insider threat that's related to computing or not. Especially if you're a company like Microsoft or if you're a company like Google. If you're a big company and you have a lot of coders, you have people that code a lot, you have people that are very tech oriented, how can you differentiate between, those kinds of people and the others? That's one example where that could be applied.
Yeah, some companies with their network administrators, any type of admins, when they have multiple administrators, rather than having one admin user that they can log in as, each one has their own username, so that any admin...
And each one has a password that's like God or something. Also,
they each have to do their admin duties under their own name.
the thing is, research has been done on hackers, but the average Joe in this day and age, can do like an auctioning scam online. So it's different. We're becoming an e-age, ETC e-age. So we really need to think this through very well. Any other questions? Should we close this up? Thank you. This was fun.